Hi there and welcome to today's video tutorial. We're going to be talking about the colour blue and its associations from a metaphysical perspective as well as psycho-emotional, and just a little bit of background information that might be relevant to you or might be of interest to you. So in this instance, well, in fact, the instance of all the colours, because they've got different hues, they've got different subconscious messages, they've got different metaphysical purposes. And when we are talking about this blue, this particular blue that I'm talking about today is the first in the series of blue on the spectrum. And the other thing with colours to understand is that there is considered to be masculine and feminine aspects of any particular shade. Especially with the primary colours, it's what you put into them that gives them variations. And by that I mean it's the composure or the composition of the colour that gives it its shades and hues. If it's got a bit more white, a bit more red, a bit more yellow, that kind of thing. But when we're talking about the blue today, I just want to make the point that the blue that we're looking at is the background colour on this slide. And the background colour is actually considered to be masculine, and we'll talk about this in a little bit more. The feminine blue is the colour with the flowers on the inside. Now, obviously, the types of images that I can get are a bit restricted. It would just take too long for the purposes of creating this video. But I think when we look at the feminine aspects of blue, it's very interesting that we have it associated with the Mother Mary, and you will notice that yourself. The feminine blue, of course, carries similar properties to the masculine, but it's considered to be far more soothing and calming and peaceful, and it's referred to as maternal protection, because there is a difference in how mothers protect their children and fathers protect their children. It can be interchangeable, but father energy being masculine, and I am talking about traditions here, not about modern society and beliefs. I'm talking about the history of the ancients, where the father protection tended to be more physical and the maternal protection was more about the nourishment and the nurturing and giving people the life skills that they need to be able to be good human beings as they mature. So I just want to make this point here that it's very interesting when we look at the history of the use of colour, that the feminine blue is associated with images of Mother Mary, or the Virgin Mary as some people like to call her. So by comparison, where we see the previous, what is considered to be a feminine blue associated with Mother Mary and feminine protection, when we look at the royal blue, it's considered to be masculine, and it's very much associated, depending on the images that you look at, with Archangel Michael, who of course is the protector, right-hand angel of God, I think is the best way to describe it if you're into faith and religion and that kind of thing. But either way, I think from my perspective, I think it's no coincidence that the royal blue is associated with colours such as royalty and masculine leadership and protection. And if you've been paying attention to things like the coronation and the different robes that are worn during these regal events, you will have noticed that the Order of the Garter, they have these blue robes, and these were for the knights, and the knights were, I'm really summarising it here. I'm sure there'll be some British person that will correct me on facts, but my understanding is that it goes back to about the 1300s when a specific king created the Order of the Garter, and these robes were designed for the knights who protected him. So we can see from here that there is this belief and perception that this divine protection is through Archangel Michael and then transferred to the people on earth that have got specific roles and functions. So just to recap, the lighter blue is about feminine, nurturing, nourishing and divine protection that is far more gentle, whereas the darker blue represents the protect and provide attributes of divinity. Hope that makes things a little bit clear for you. So what I've attempted to do here is, with this image of the white starry type thing, is convey that the blue that we're talking about today is interspersed with not just the dark blue of the royal masculine attributes, but it encompasses the feminine aspects as well, the nourish and nurture. It also brings in the purity of the white. You'll have seen that we've got the white video up, and consequently, because we bring in all these different shades, it brings in a bit of red as well, and that turns into pink, if you like. So what we're looking at here is a colour that is transformative, it's protective, it's nurturing, and it's healing. And if we were to look at the chakra body and compare it to the 7 rays, we're looking at forgiveness with the emerald, we're looking at self-confidence, self-esteem, raising of the self-esteem with the pink. The red, of course, is a deeper colour of the pink, and that refers to your base willpower, and all of these kind of things. So the blue, this particular blue, brings in a lot of different attributes. So let's take a look at it. So where we're going with this is based on my observations. People tend to be drawn to this particular colour when they're feeling frightened and scared, when there's particularly when they have a lack of personal safety. And this might be because they're living in a violent neighbourhood. It could be that there's lots of break-ins that are happening around them. Potentially their house may have been broken into, or they might be survivors or even living through domestic violence type relationships, and they have fear of basically being physically harmed. If I was delivering a therapy session, an art therapy, and somebody was drawn to this colour or repelled by it, this becomes a door opener for the therapist to turn around and say something like, well, that's interesting, because basically just what I've said to you in my experience, or I've been informed that a lot of people that are repelled or drawn to this particular colour are going through X and Y. Is this something that you might be dealing with right now? And that becomes a door opener, if you like, to a conversation about what's happening at a deeper level. And the person may turn around and quite honestly say, no, that's not relevant to me. And that's okay, because that just becomes a little piece of information that we can store and take into account with the next person that we're working with. But alternatively, depending on the role of which a person finds themselves working in, it can actually be an opportunity to unpack and have that conversation, and then talk about strategies on what can be done to make that person physically safer. So just as a point of interest, for me, a personal association or link that I make with this specific colour is I actually associate it with a healing modality called Tibetan Reiki. And I was attuned to Tibetan Reiki many years ago. I also did Yasui Reiki, and I've done it to teacher's level. And so therefore I actually have some clairvoyance. And what I find is that each time I do some formal attunement, or when I'm interacting with spirit, I end up seeing colours. And so for me, I saw when I was doing the Tibetan Reiki attunements, it was kind of this colour. And so therefore I also associate this particular colour with kind of an electrical charge, because that is the attunement process, if you like. We're all electricity anyway at the end of the day, and vibration. And what the attunements do is they actually raise your vibrations, kind of like giving us a jolt, if you like. So from this perspective, this is why I understand that this colour is a reminder if people are drawn to it as well. It's not just about the physical protective elements and aspects of the colour. That's relevant as well, but because it's got these other colours in its composition, it is a healing colour. It is one that is activating a person to step into their personal power. And they actually don't need to have done attunements to step into their power. There's things that you can do. And of course, when I talk power, I'm talking about energetic power, because once we learn to harness that, if we remember that we're all mind, body and spirit, we then have that transfer over into our personal and physical existence, if you like. So what we do on one level, energy-wise, is going to translate over to the physical aspect of life. So within this perspective too, when we talk about activating our inner gifts and empowering ourselves, I'm also a believer that everything happens at the divine time. So there is a message here for people. If we were using this colour as an oracle, I would be saying to a person that right now is the right time for you to step up and grab hold of your power. Choose, make this make this conscious decision to attune yourself and activate your own healing powers by harnessing this particular blue. At the very least, by activating this power within you, you'll be able to experience increased vitality. And if you've been feeling nervous or anxious or worried, the energy of the colour is going to be calming and soothing. So this optimises your feelings of being safe and secure and protected. I mean, of course, even though I have to put this on here because there are some people that might think that by using the power of blue that they're suddenly invincible and invulnerable. That is not going to be correct. What it means is it offers a level of protection whereby you can draw upon your intuitive gifts and you will know when it's time to shift yourself. So, for instance, if there did become a threat to your home or your personal safety, and this can actually be just driving down the road, I have narrowly missed car accidents because I have drawn upon the power and just followed those instincts and the intuition, and then later on turned around and said, thank God. You know what I mean? So this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Activate your power and work upon it. Just an extra tidbit here. In regard to chromotherapy, the chromotherapists believe that blue has an antiseptic quality to it so that it can also help to heal. I'm putting a disclaimer on here. This is one of those things where it's like, don't discard professional medical treatment. Use things like colour therapy, which is alternative in conjunction with professional medical treatment. But anyway, what the chromotherapists say is that it can help to heal burns. It can help to reduce excessive bleeding and is beneficial when there's a fever, and for people that have got a sluggish metabolism, it can actually help to increase the rate of metabolic processing, if you like. And there are many activities that we can do to bring the colour blue into our life, and that is beyond the obvious ones of, wear an item of clothing that's blue, or a nice sapphire if you can afford to buy a sapphire, or if you've got a navy blue coloured crystal or even a glass bead or whatever, you can pop that into, just under your pillow at night while you're sleeping. These are just basic things that you can do, but there's a bit more and we'll talk about that. So the first one is actually a visualization activity, but what we might think is easy is not always easy for somebody if they don't have well-developed powers of imagination, shall we say, and visualization. So I would recommend to people, if they struggle to visualize themselves sitting in a tub or a pool of beautiful sapphire-colored water, that they actually do go and have a soak in the tub. And while they're soaking in the tub, they visualize themselves, close their eyes and imagine that this water is this amazing color and that they feel it swirling around them and going through them to the core of their being, if you like, So this is what we call a physical immersion. But as I say, not everybody is good with creative visualization. So that's why sometimes, at least when you get started, the physical activity of actually doing it is probably a good beginning. Ooh. So this next activity is better suited to people who have harnessed to some level the powers of imagination and visualization. Just be aware that when we're developing these skills, sometimes it's a little bit harder when we first get started, but the more we do it, the easier we get. So of course, if we are looking to do a meditation to draw upon this colour, we just see ourselves sitting within this colour, and on the inhale, we use the sacred breath. I'll just make that statement here. I do have a video up on how to do the sacred breath, okay? So you draw upon the sacred breath, you breathe this beautiful colour in through your crown, you allow it to fill your body, and on the exhale, you breathe it into your aura with fullness. And of course, when you're doing the sacred breath, that exhale becomes a push from, the diaphragm, the bottom of the diaphragm, and you kind of push it up and out your mouth, and you fill the aura. So that you can check out other videos on the website, on the playlist as well. So in this particular activity, this is another visualization, and it's probably more suited towards people that actually believe in angels, but you don't have to, okay? And once again, there is a strategy that you could employ if you're not very good at visualizing. But I'm pretty sure all kids have done make believe at some point in time. But I'll run through what the process is first from a visual perspective, and that is to see yourself with a sword in your hand, and this sword is a sword of blue light. And at the tip of the sword, there is this vibrant, radiating, highly energetic light that carries an incredible amount of healing power. And if you've been struggling with ill health or any issues, basically, when you touch this part of your body with the sword, it dissolves all disease and sickness from your body. So this is a visualization. It's creative, it's imaginary if you like. But anyway, you can use this sword, as said before, to relieve fevers, stop bleeding, heal burns. It's a magical sword. So this is what you're conveying to your mind. And as you use the sword, you would make an affirmation along the lines of, and of course you use your own words, Divine Creator, with this sword of light, heal, purify and regenerate my body for the perfect health. Now, whenever we do an affirmation, we also take a pause in between and we allow it kind of to sit for a minute or 30 seconds, however long time prevails for you, and we repeat it a couple of times. So that's one specific healing activity. And one thing I saw many years ago in one place, there was somebody that I knew who actually used to collect medieval props or whatever, and he actually had a real, I say real sword, but not the genuine article, a real sword that you would use in drama, plays or whatever. I can't think of the word. So it's not real, it's not genuine, authentic sword, but it is a sword made of metal, but it's not harmful. Anyway, he had one of those swords, and the idea was that actually people would use this sword, and he would get them to slam this sword into the ground, slam it in front of them with force and passion, especially if they'd been dealing with a lot of victimization, and then they would stand out there. Fortunately, he had a really big property, and people would then yell out to the universe, I command my personal power back right now. I command the energy of the universe right here, right now, and I demand that I receive my personal power back. That's just another activity that we can do with a sword. It might be comfortable to you, it might not. But anyway, just food for thought. So my friends, that is it for today's video on the power of blue. I wish you a blessed week and a lot of joy stepping into your power. So I really hope that you have fun with the colour strategies and techniques that I give to you. It doesn't matter if you don't believe. You can give it a whirl, because at the end of the day, you've got nothing to lose and potentially everything to gain. But for now, I'm going to say have a wonderful day, wonderful week. Catch you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye for now.